Hello, drama lovers. Welcome back to my channel today. In the latest developments on The Young and the Restless, tensions rise as unexpected heroism clashes with deep-rooted mistrust. Sienna steps into the spotlight after a life-or-death moment involving Nick, proving she's capable of bravery when it matters most. However, while her actions may have saved a life, they aren't enough to erase the doubts lingering in Sharon's mind. The drama unfolds when Nick finds himself in a dangerous situation that quickly spirals out of control. What begins as a tense confrontation soon escalates, leaving Nick vulnerable and in urgent need of help. Just when it seems like there's no way out, Sienna intervenes. Acting on instinct and determination, she manages to pull Nick out of harm's way, risking her own safety in the process. Her quick thinking and courage ultimately make the difference between life and death. Nick, shaken but alive, is forced to process what just happened. He knows that without Sienna's intervention, the outcome could have been tragic. Gratitude comes naturally to him, and he doesn't hesitate to acknowledge that she saved his life. This moment creates a complicated emotional shift. Nick begins to see Sienna in a new light, one that challenges previous assumptions and judgments. But not everyone is ready to embrace this new perspective. Sharon, in particular, remains deeply skeptical. From her point of view, Sienna's heroic act doesn't automatically make her trustworthy. Sharon has seen too much, experienced too many betrayals, to let her guard down so easily. While others may view Sienna as a savior, Sharon questions her motives. Was it truly selfless bravery? Or is there something more calculated beneath the surface? This difference in perception creates tension between Sharon and Nick. While Nick leans toward giving Sienna the benefit of the doubt, Sharon stands firm in her suspicion. She worries that Nick's gratitude might cloud his judgment, making him vulnerable to manipulation. For Sharon, protecting the people she loves means staying cautious, even when it makes her seem harsh or unyielding. Meanwhile, Sienna finds herself caught in the middle of this emotional divide. On one hand, she's dealing with the aftermath of a traumatic event. Saving Nick wasn't easy, and the experience leaves its mark on her. On the other hand, she's now facing scrutiny instead of appreciation from certain corners. Sharon's cold attitude doesn't go unnoticed, and it becomes clear that earning her trust will be an uphill battle. Sienna may have hoped that her actions would change how others see her, but reality proves more complicated. Trust isn't built in a single moment. It's shaped over time through consistency and honesty. Sharon's reluctance serves as a reminder that past impressions don't disappear overnight. As the storyline progresses, relationships begin to shift in subtle but important ways. Nick's growing appreciation for Sienna could lead to a stronger bond between them, one that might evolve into something deeper. At the same time, Sharon's unwavering doubt introduces friction, not just with Sienna, but potentially with Nick as well. The situation also raises broader questions about redemption and perception. Can one act of bravery redefine a person? Or do past actions carry more weight than a single heroic moment? Each character seems to answer that question differently, reflecting their own experiences and emotional baggage. Sharon's stance, while comes from a place of self-protection. She has learned the hard way that appearances can be deceiving. For her, trust must be earned slowly and carefully, not granted impulsively. Even in the face of undeniable heroism, she refuses to ignore her instincts. Nick, however, represents a more hopeful outlook. He believes in second chances and the possibility that people can rise above their past. His willingness to reconsider Sienna's character highlights his compassionate nature, but it also puts him at odds with Sharon's caution. As for Sienna, her journey is far from over. Saving Nick may have been a turning point, but it's only the beginning of her struggle to prove herself. Whether she can win Sharon over, or if deeper secrets will come to light, remains to be seen. The fallout from this dramatic rescue is sure to ripple through future episodes. Alliances may shift, hidden truths could emerge, and the fragile balance between trust and suspicion will continue to shape the narrative. In true soap opera fashion, nothing is ever simple, and every action carries consequences. In The Young and the Restless, the emotional shockwaves of Nick's near-death experience begin to ripple through everyone connected to him. Nick may have survived, but survival comes with consequences. Physically, he's recovering, but emotionally, he's shaken. Moments replay in his mind. The fear, the helplessness, and most of all, the instant Sienna appeared and changed everything. That memory refuses to fade. It forces him to confront something he hadn't expected. He owes his life to someone he didn't fully trust before. And that realization changes him. Nick becomes more reflective, more aware of how fragile everything is. He starts questioning his past judgments, wondering if he misread Sienna entirely. Gratitude turns into curiosity, and curiosity slowly shifts into something deeper. But just as Nick begins to open that door, Sharon slams it shut. Sharon isn't moved by emotion, she's driven by instinct. And her instincts are screaming that something about Sienna isn't right. She watches closely, analyzing every move, every word, every glance. To Sharon, Sienna's heroism feels too perfect, too convenient, too clean. People don't just change overnight, Sharon thinks. And she refuses to believe that one dramatic act suddenly rewrites someone's entire character. This creates a silent but growing divide. Nick starts defending Sienna in small ways, subtle at first. A kind word here, a benefit of the doubt there. But Sharon notices, and she doesn't like it. Because to Sharon, this isn't just about Sienna. It's about protecting Nick. For Sienna, the rescue should have been a turning point. Instead, it becomes a test. She expected questions, maybe even suspicion, but she didn't expect the cold wall Sharon puts up. There's no gratitude, no acknowledgement, just distance. And judgment. Sienna feels it every time Sharon looks at her. Every conversation becomes tense. Every interaction feels like a trial she didn't sign up for. But here's the twist. Sienna doesn't fight back. At least not openly. Instead, she chooses patience. She tries to stay calm, measured, controlled. She tells herself that trust takes time, that Sharon's reaction isn't personal, it's protective. But deep down it stings, because Sienna knows what she did. She knows she risked everything, and being treated like a threat instead of a hero. That cuts deeper than she expected. Still, Sienna refuses to walk away. If anything, she becomes more determined. She starts making small efforts, helping where she can, showing up when it matters, proving through actions rather than words that she's not who Sharon thinks she is. But the more she tries, the more Sharon watches and waits for the moment Sienna slips. Sharon isn't the type to sit back and hope for the best. She investigates, quietly, carefully, and relentlessly. While everyone else focuses on the rescue, Sharon focuses on the past. She starts digging into Sienna's history, looking for anything that doesn't add up. And it doesn't take long before she finds inconsistencies. Nothing concrete, nothing explosive, but enough to raise questions. Little details that don't align. Stories that feel slightly off. Gaps that shouldn't exist. To anyone else, it might seem insignificant. To Sharon, it's everything. Because those small cracks suggest something bigger beneath the surface. Now Sharon is more convinced than ever. Sienna is hiding something. The question is what? And more importantly, is Nick walking straight into danger again? Nick never expected to become the center of a conflict between two strong-willed women. But that's exactly where he is. On one side, there's Sharon, someone who has been a constant in his life, someone he trusts deeply. Her concern isn't random. It comes from history, from experience, from knowing how quickly things can go wrong. On the other side, there's Sienna, the woman who saved his life. The contrast couldn't be sharper. Logic tells Nick to listen to Sharon, but emotion pulls him towards Sienna, and that internal conflict starts to show. He becomes more defensive when Sharon questions Sienna, more distant when conversations turn into arguments. He doesn't want to choose sides, but by not choosing, he's already creating tension. Sharon notices the shift immediately, and it worries her, because in her mind, this is exactly how it starts. Trust leads to vulnerability. Vulnerability leads to mistakes. And mistakes can be deadly. Meanwhile, Sienna sees the strain too. And she realizes something important. She's not just fighting for trust. She's fighting for her place in Nick's life. In The Young and the Restless, suspicion starts turning into something far more dangerous, certainty. Sharon can feel it. Something isn't right. And now she's closer than ever to proving it. The small inconsistencies she uncovered earlier, they're starting to connect. Not fully, but enough to form a pattern. And patterns don't lie. Sienna, meanwhile, continues trying to maintain control. But pressure changes people. The more Sharon watches her, the harder it becomes for Sienna to stay perfectly composed. Tiny slips begin to surface, nothing obvious, nothing dramatic, but just enough for someone like Sharon to notice. A hesitation before answering a question, a story that shifts slightly, a reaction that feels off. To everyone else, it's nothing. To Sharon, it's confirmation. Sienna isn't just hiding something. She's hiding something big. Clapperboard Part 7, A Dangerous Discovery. Sharon decides it's time to stop guessing and start proving. She digs deeper than ever before. Records, connections, past relationships, places Sienna claimed to have been, and the truth behind them. And then she finds something, not the full truth, but enough to change everything. A name, a connection to someone dangerous, someone tied to events that nearly destroyed lives before. Sharon freezes when she realizes what this could mean. This isn't just about Sienna anymore. This could be a setup, a long game, and Nick, he might be the target. While Sharon closes in, Sienna faces a battle of her own. Because the truth? It's catching up with her. She knows she can't keep everything hidden forever. The pressure is building, the walls are closing in, and every interaction feels like a risk. But here's the twist. Sienna isn't as cold or calculated as Sharon believes. At least not entirely. There are moments when Sienna is alone, when the mask drops just enough to reveal something real. Conflict, fear, even guilt. It becomes clear that whatever she's hiding, it's not simple. And it's not easy for her either. But whether that makes her dangerous or human remains the question. Clapperboard Part 9, the first explosion. The tension finally boils over. Sharon confronts Nick. No more hints. No more subtle warnings. She lays it out clearly. Sienna cannot be trusted. Nick is caught completely off guard. He expected concern, not accusations, and definitely not the kind of claim Sharon is making now. At first, he pushes back hard. He reminds Sharon of one undeniable fact. Sienna saved his life, but Sharon doesn't back down. Instead, she reveals what she found. Not everything, but enough to shake Nick's confidence. For the first time, doubt creeps in. Nick tries to hold onto his belief in Sienna, but doubt is powerful. Once it's there, it spreads. He starts noticing things he ignored before. Small details, strange timing, moments that suddenly don't feel as innocent as they once did. And just like that, everything begins to shift. Meanwhile, Sienna senses the change immediately. Nick looks at her differently now. Questions replace trust. Distance replaces connection. And she knows exactly why. Sharon, that realization hits hard. Because now Sienna understands. This isn't just about proving herself anymore. It's about survival. Sharon isn't finished. Not even close. Now that Nick is starting to listen, she pushes further. She revisits every detail, every clue, every inconsistency. And slowly, the picture becomes clearer. Sienna's past isn't just complicated. It's connected to people, to events, to secrets that were never supposed to resurface. And the closer Sharon gets to the truth, the more dangerous things become. Because if she's right, Sienna didn't enter their lives by accident. Clapperboard Part 12, Sienna Cornered. Sienna realizes she's running out of time. The pressure from Sharon, the growing distance from Nick, the constant fear of being exposed. It all becomes too much. For the first time, Sienna considers walking away, leaving everything behind, starting over somewhere else. But she doesn't, because there's something keeping her here. Something or someone she can't let go of. And that decision, it might be her biggest mistake. Sharon finally uncovers a piece of the puzzle she's been missing. And when she sees it, everything clicks. Her worst fears, they weren't exaggerated. If anything, they were too small. Because the truth about Sienna isn't just shocking. It's explosive, and it has the power to destroy everything. But here's the catch. She doesn't reveal it yet. Not fully, because timing matters. And Sharon wants to make sure that when the truth comes out, there's no denying it. Clapperboard Part 14. Nick demands answers. Nick can't take the uncertainty anymore. He confronts Sienna directly. No more assumptions. No more silence. He wants the truth. And this time, he won't accept anything less. Sienna is pushed into a corner. She can lie. She can deflect. Or she can finally tell the truth. The choice she makes in this moment will change everything. Sienna looks at Nick. For a long moment, she says nothing. Then, she speaks. And what she says, it's not what anyone expected. Because instead of denying everything, she admits part of it. Just enough to shock Nick. Just enough to confirm Sharon was right to be suspicious. But not enough to reveal the full truth. And that partial confession, it sets the stage for something even bigger. Because now one thing is certain. The real story is far from over.